Hello everyone. Welcome back to another episode of our /JustNoMil. In today's episode, MIL let me know she's hosting Easter. MIL likes to hide gifts in the house, decorate for us, and got mad when we asked her to stop. Story time. Let me introduce you to my JN. You're going to get to know her well. Before we get started, make sure to subscribe so you will never miss a video. So let's get started. MIL let me know she's hosting Easter. If it's because we have been in a power struggle for 12 years, or because I'm right but it rubbed me the wrong way, she texted me to let me know she's hosting Easter and if we have any preferences for the menu. It bothers me she doesn't even ask if we want to go or do. I feel disrespected, as if she's trying to walk on me. I asked my husband if they agreed on it, but he said he didn't know anything about it. Oh, I'm sorry, I wished you had contacted me sooner and let me know, so I could have told you we already have made plans for Easter. Hope you have the blessed Easter holiday you were hoping for anyway. Say with an absolute air of innocence. You don't have or need to share what your plans may or may not be, because OT is frankly none of her business. All husband needs to say if asked is, we have plans, we had not idea about your plans. I wouldn't feel compelled to play into her power struggle. ETA. If she still pushes back, tell her you thought it was an invite and not a summons, but either way you will be unavailable to attend. Hopefully she won't feel a need to get a warrant issued to attend her celebration. I'd message back, thanks for asking. Not sure if we can make it till late as we have plans for earlier. Then I'd make a point of not turning up until later in the afternoon. Tell her to have a great Easter, but you and your family have other plans. The end. Just because she's hosting an event doesn't mean you are obligated to go. MIL likes to hide gifts in the house, decorate for us, and got mad when we asked her to stop. MIL, 69F, has the habit of buying things for the sake of buying them and gifting to us. It's usually not large purchases. It tends to be little things that keep adding up because we can't use them quickly enough, or she tells us to store them and use them for later. I can't tell if this is some sort of caretaker quirk she has, or if she thinks she's helping more than she's being a nuisance. At this point, I should mention that my wife, 34F, and I, 37M, both work good-paying jobs, and our two girls, 3 and 1, are both in daycare. The older kid is in 5 days a week, and the younger one, 3, MIL, comes over to watch her the other 2 days. We can afford to put her in the whole week, but ultimately we decided to wait until she's 2 since she'll be a lot more sociable at that age. We just purchased our long-term home last year, and while the monthly payment is expensive, we're staying afloat even with all the other expenses that we have. Anyway, back to the gifts. Most of the time it's food, and it tends to be things that we've bought a few times, and she takes it upon herself to stock up for us. For instance, coffee. I got a bag of coffee from Costco, and it lasts me a while since my wife doesn't like coffee. MIL saw this and took it upon herself to buy more coffee, so there was 2 bags in my pantry. The next week she bought another similarly sized bag, and now there's 3 and it's crowding the space. I literally do not and cannot drink all this coffee this quickly. Her suggestion was that I just save it for later. Save it for when? 6 months from now? I told her to stop. And it's not just this, it's cases of soda that she replenishes faster than we can drink it. It's candy that we bought to bring with us to the movies, and now it's packed up. She asks if we want some Filipino food when she goes to her house 4 hours away, and she brings back triple the amount we ask for and says we can just store it in our freezer, never minding that there's still food from the last time she did it. Sometimes it's other things that we also don't ask for, and she doesn't get our input before bringing it over. One time she bought something like $200 worth of clothing for our 1-year-old, most of which she will grow out of in a few months, and if we don't have another girl it'll likely be worthless. Half of the cleaning supplies we have in our home were not bought by us, and we literally cannot, and should not, clean enough to use these for a year. Random trinkets from her trips, random household items that she thinks would look nice, and we tell her to return them. She takes it upon herself when I'm either working, or when she watches the girls when we go out to rearrange our photos or our kitchen drawers or put up new decorations. She shoves more clothes into our kids' dressers than can fit them, So I struggle to open it and I find clothes that haven't fit them in 6 months. About the only time she asks us is when she wants to take a trip somewhere. I get that she's getting old and she wants to enjoy traveling with her granddaughters before it may be too late, but she fails to realize that traveling with small children is just parenting away from home. You don't have all the creature comforts they like, and all these new environments can be overwhelming for them. And they're very, very likely to not remember any of it. We don't see the value in taking a vacation just the 5 of us. When we traveled with my side of the family, there were all the cousins there for them to play with, and my parents also enjoyed spending time with them. When we travel with my MIL, it's mostly just her staying in the hotel room only to go out for dinner, but offering to keep the girls with her. All this does is just add stress to the vacations, and as a result, they've been mostly unenjoyable even though she's footing the bill. We've asked her to stop, and then she took it upon herself to buy stuff anyway and hide them in our home. In our last home, she bought several random rugs and put them in our coat closet. When I discovered them, I texted my wife, asking if she bought some and was going to place them, or if MIL brought it up. Of course, it was neither of those things. So I told MIL to go return them because we didn't have any use for them and she didn't get permission. As a result, our last home got very cluttered, which MIL also complained to us about. So in our new home, we've told her we're putting our foot down, either ask us before purchasing something or don't buy it, and to not decorate our home without getting permission. This weekend I discovered she put up some shitty wind chimes in our front yard. Little, dinky wooden wind chimes that the rain and wind will chew up. And I know it was her because it was a souvenir from a trip she took several years ago, perhaps pre-COVID. She literally bought it and held on to it for so many years, and only after we've had these conversations did she decide to bring it over and hang it up. So I pulled it down and asked her if she got permission from us before she brought it up. Of course, the answer was no, so I reiterated our boundaries. I even told her that we appreciated all the help she's done with helping to watch the girls, but apparently this wasn't enough. She wants to be our homemaker. She's given me the silent treatment ever since. When she does talk, it's been rude. Snide comments here and there about how the house should be laid out. Snark about how there was a tiny mess somewhere. The 1-year-old was crying so clearly she's abusing her. That one super pissed me off because her raising of my wife left a lot to be desired. When she goes to ask my wife about these things, she accuses her of having loyalty to me over her, when in reality we both want her to stop cluttering our house with shit we didn't ask for. I'm dealing with someone who literally wants to give us the world but doesn't understand what that means, so it's just random shit that we don't ask for, and then gets pissy when we tell her no. It's not the first time she's acted like this around me, and usually after a week she moves on, but it is exhausting to have to keep reiterating what the boundaries are only for her to get upset when we enforce them. Edit. Clarifications. I work from home, so during the work week she's not alone with my younger daughter. She doesn't have keys to the house. She also is not able to put the girls into car seats, so she can't take them anywhere. My wife generally doesn't stand up to her mom unless I make the first move. It's a bit of a learned behavior that she had to grow up with. MIL was a single mom and my wife is her only child. She rented an apartment and moved down here to help with the girls, but still has her home 4 hours away that she goes up once a month for. MIL is showing you that she is not going to be able to be in your home without direct supervision the entire time, and maybe not even then if she can't be civil to you. The way you fix this is to put the younger child in daycare 5 days per week and put an end to MIL providing childcare. Meet her elsewhere when you visit. She doesn't get to visit at your home until she proves over a period of time that she can behave herself. The only way this will stop is if you remove her access to your home. Put the youngest into full-time daycare, rekey all your locks even if you never gave her a key. She may have made a copy without you knowing, and switch to visiting either at her house or visits in public. Go out to cafes, parks, etc. so she sees your kids without being in your home. Ada. This type of thing is usually about control, so I'd remove her access to your space. Yes, unless you want a full-time job of donating things and let yourself be gaslit. Did we buy this? She has to no longer have access to your home. It will not stop unless you stop her. Just because she puts clothes in drawers doesn't mean you have to keep them. Same with food or anything else. A domestic violence shelter for women and children can probably use those clothes, especially if they have never been worn. Many escape with only the clothes on their backs. They might take the coffee as well. Your best bet is to put your youngest in daycare full-time and stop giving this woman access to you home. She's never going to get it because she thinks she knows better than you. Ever see the little snippet on FB/IG where they say millennials are obsessed with minimalism because we grew up with homes that were stuffed with stuff? I don't think they can help it. I really don't. They think they are being helpful, but they aren't. You just have to stay strong and hold your boundaries. Take everything you find to your wife. Your wife needs to speak to her mother every time you discover something. Story time. Let me introduce you to my JN. You're going to get to know her well. I guess now is just as good as any time to introduce you to my JustNoMil. I have the feeling you'll be hearing much more about her in the near future. I have so much to tell you guys, but let's start here. Myself, 36BF, yes, that's relevant, and my DH, 36WM, and I have been together for 6 years, married one. Jamil has been married and divorced 5 times, but is so concerned with what's going on in our marriage. Absolutely nothing. We're happy and healthy. She's constantly asking my DH prying questions, fishing for any problems. For example, if he happens to forget to put back on his wedding ring, sometimes he removes it with his work, she inquires as to why he doesn't have his ring on, i.e., "Where's your ring? Is everything all right?" When she found out we got engaged, instead of being happy for her growing family, she asked him how many carats my ring was and had he spoken to his ex-fiancée. This person has been out of his life for many years and never a topic of conversation. When he told her, "No, why would I talk to her?" she said she didn't understand why he was getting so snippy with her about it. I just found out a few days ago. This was withheld from me. No one wanted to upset me on my wedding day or have me thinking about it during the honeymoon. Apparently at our wedding last year, she was so upset the entire time. She's sitting around looking like she's sucking on a lemon, not socializing, and mumbling something about all these niggers. This is the second time she has said the N-word that I'm aware of. When we first started dating, I was visiting my DH, and I could hear her on the phone ranting about the disrespect a family member was showing to her by leaving a mess in her home. She exclaimed to my hubby, "He's not going to treat me like I'm his nigger." She apologized to him and excused herself by saying she hadn't meant to say it. She was just in a rage. She also called him every morning during our honeymoon until I shut that down. So since she couldn't harass him by phone while we're in the hotel room continents away enjoying the good life, my Ring doorbell goes off and it's my JN. She showed up to our home to tell my child that the grass needed to be cut. It did not. And poke around to tell him to clean his room. We didn't care if his room was messy. He's plenty old enough to be left alone, take care of himself, and we already had people lined up to look out for him if he needed it. I called and told her to please leave. We would take care of anything that needed to be taken care of at home. She stormed out after saying, "I was just trying to make sure things were in order when you got back." Now we have a baby due in a few months, and my anxiety is through the roof. All I can think of is her looking into my sweet, innocent baby's face and seeing nigger. Or getting angry with LO and accidentally, sarcasm guys, definitely no accidental N-word, calling LO nigger. We have already decided that she is never allowed to have contact with our child alone. She will visit in our home. We have cameras with audio and video, and will always have someone else present. I'm waiting for the boundary pushing/stomping that she will surely attempt with her typical borderline behavior. I am trying to prepare us for the inevitable LC/NC, and it's not what I want for DH. She has alienated, abused everyone in the family throughout his life, so he really doesn't have any other close familial relationships. As much as I can't stand her, I mourn for what I wish she was. I wish she didn't have a personality disorder. I wish she wasn't in denial about having one. I wish she wasn't emotionally abusive to my DH. I wish she wasn't a POS racist. I wish she was a better MIL. I wish she was a better human. But she is what she is. And it makes me sad. Sad for my LO1 on the way. Sad for my DH.
E.
Biracial child here. Guess what? The first time I ever heard the N-word, it was from a racist grandparent. Guess what, number 2? It wasn't the last time I ever heard them say it.
E.
I'm so sorry. Your confirmation is all I needed to hear. Hugs. She has alienated, abused everyone in the family throughout his life, so he really doesn't have any other close familial relationships. Not true. He went from having only a mentally unstable, abusive mother to having a loving wife, an awesome stepson, and a sweet baby on the way. DH finally has the family he deserves. If you made it to the end of the video, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share, and we will see you in the next video.